what is your experience with meditation? How did you get introduced to it and get into it? And what does your practice look like?
Yeah. So how I got introduced to it, I had always heard of it, prior to my father passing. I'm a very spiritual person also prior to my father passing, but, after his passing at the end of 2019, I started to just have these very weird experiences, a lot of synchronicities, people just seemingly coming out of the woodwork, and it just felt like they were coming to me with messages, kind of guiding me back on path and making sure that I'm not getting off of track with things, which was so appreciated at such a dark place and dark time in my life. And so about a month before my father passed, I was going home to Fayetteville, North Carolina, where I'm from, for Thanksgiving. And I literally have a voice memo of this. I record voice memos, like little like vlogs all the time, just so I can remember things, even if it's like a punchline or something for a blog or an idea. It's not always like emotional or my just random thoughts, but I'm literally saying, I'm so excited. Like, I just got back from LA. When I get home this evening, I'm going to tell my parents that I'm going to work towards moving out there, not permanently or indefinitely, just for the time being. In my soul, I felt called to a bigger city. I felt called to be more expansive, to really grow in life. And I had a best friend out there that was going to kind of take me under his wing and let me, he's a very big celebrity stylist now. He's worked with Adriana Lima, Paula Abdul, James Charles, Sophia Richie. He's doing great. And I was going to go out there and work under him. I was so invigorated and so excited by this. I didn't know at the time how much my dad had going on with him and how much stress that my parents were under. And my dad did pass away, you know this, by suicide. So I just didn't know that, like, coming to them at that particular time, a month out from his passing, they probably never wanted that news that I, was wanting to go away. I'm their oldest child. I was really close with them. So I wasn't very thrilled with the reaction I got. It kind of brewed into a big fight. My dad didn't really say much. He was docile on the couch in the background. And it was just kind of me and my mom going at it for a bit, and she was crying, and she was, like, are we not cool to you anymore? Why would you want to leave us? But, and that's, I don't hold any resentment or anything there. And that's not why I'm telling this story, but why I'm telling this story is because in my soul, and this is what I kept telling them. I said, I'm not meant to do hair. I'm not meant to be in a salon trapped in by these four walls, these same four walls every fucking day. I'm not meant for this. And I feel it and I see it every day. And when I travel alone to Jamaica and stay on a lime farm and I'm interviewing the people there, when I travel to LA and see my friend Dustin and meet like-minded individuals there that want to work and, fill their body with purpose, the purpose that they deem they were put on this planet to fulfill. That's what I want to do. I'm not saying I want to leave you guys forever or anything like that, but like, I need to get out right now. I'm not supposed to be here. And so then, we went to bed upset that night with one another. Thanksgiving happened. It all just kind of got like swept under the rug a little bit, but they knew how I felt, and they knew where my mind was with all of that. And fast forward to the story. My father passes December 17th. 3 days before his passing, we were on the phone, and he tells me, he's like, I was like, Dad, I have this like business conference that I'm supposed to go to in Vegas. I've never gone to Vegas before, for my CBD company. I really don't want to go. Like, I'm such a tropical girl. If I'm going to spend the money, I don't want to go to Vegas. Like, I just want to spend the money and go back to Jamaica or something. And my dad was super business minded. He's like, no, it's a conference for your work. Like, you better go. You're going to love Vegas. You're going to have the time of your fucking life. Like, go. And like, if if anyone else on this entire world said that to me, I'm a skeptic. But like my dad, it was, I mean, I definitely like held him at a little bit of a God complex, or on a pedestal, because he just was so magnificent and so strong, and I trusted his opinion endlessly. So it just was like that. I was like, okay, going to Vegas. Here we go. Viva Las Vegas, baby. 3 days later he passes, and I'm like, fuck, like I'm grieving. I don't want to go to fucking Vegas. Like, are you joking me right now? I don't want to go. But, you know, I didn't get flight insurance, I don't believe. And I had a great group of friends and everyone that we're going to. And they're like, Carlie, it's going to be, it's going to be amazing. We're going to have the time of our lives. We're going to make it so special for you. And they absolutely did. And I'll never forget, on the flight on the way back, I mean, we had the most magnificent time. And I mean, but you don't sleep while you're there. Right. They're pumping oxygen into the clubs. Like, I was in classes all day. I was drinking and going out all night. So we were just staying up. I mean, maybe we would get like an hour or two before class of sleep. That sounds so unhealthy, like looking back now, but I don't regret a minute of it. So I am zonked on this plane. I remember I had never sat in the aisle like where the door is before, you know, where they have to ask you, like, if the plane is going down, are you okay with something? I forget how they like word it. And I'm so lethargic. I mean, my eyes are crossed. I had also taken a couple of edibles to be able to, you know, sleep the flight home and everything. And that stuff is legal out there. But I just remember being like cross-eyed and being like, what are you asking me right now? No, I cannot do this. Like, I'm not the one you guys want. I'm like near death right now coming back from Vegas. So I was like, no, please move my seat. And then after that, I realized that that's a very like normal standard thing. I just didn't get what they were asking me. And I'll never forget, I was sleeping. My friend literally has a picture of me like sleeping with my mouth open. Like, that's how out of it I am on this plane. And I had this thought, like enter my realm of thought, you know, from the quantum field. Just something told me to go look on my Instagram DMs, and just something I never look at my requests. And something told me to look at my requests. And there was this message from like a spiritual interpreter, or psychic, whatever you want to call it. And she just is like, you are meant for so much more. You're not supposed to be in the place that you're at. You're not supposed to be doing the job that you are doing right now. You're meant to be traveling the world, like all of these things. And she said, you just lost someone important to you, and you just met someone very important as well. And she listed things that like nobody would have known about my trip. And just, you know, and a lot of people can say, oh, well, you know, it's all very generalized, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. But when you feel it in your heart, when you feel it in your body, and you know that there's a message, that message is for you, and you're unlocking that message, you just feel it. And it's something that you don't even care to justify to people, because you feel it. And I felt it. And I had never done anything like this before, but she's like, let me know if you would like a session with me, blah, blah, blah. And I ended up I was like, this is just a little crazy, like a little
too on the nose.
Yeah. Like I have to do these sessions. And so I started doing these sessions with her, and she's the one that poured into me. She said, you are meant for so much, and I cannot tell you what, I mean, and at this point, Cameron, mind you, I'm literally a hairstylist. Like, my dad had passed 4 weeks prior. And I'm coming back now from Vegas to this salon where I got the news about my dad's passing. I mean, how weird is that even? So I try to go back, and I couldn't work somewhere where I got that news. I couldn't stand somewhere and see 6 feet next to me. I couldn't stand somewhere working, listening to someone complaining about their nails chipping, or their spray tan not being good, or their blonde not being the correct shade of blonde, or whatever it was, and look 6 feet to my left and see where I got the most devastating, life-changing call of my life. And so I tried to go back that next week, and I just hear her telling me, you're not meant to be there. And it's exactly what I had told my parents. And so I started doing these sessions, and she's like, I'm not here to tell you what you're supposed to be doing in life. That's not my job, but I'm here to tell you that you need to be meditating and praying every single day. You need to be journaling. You need to be meditating. And she gave me like different types of meditations. And I can't, this experience for me was so ethereal, because I honest to God don't really know if I would have, I know I would have found purpose and found what I'm doing now at some point, but would it have been that expedited without her telling me, like, you need to do this, like, do this? She really picked me up from a place in my life that was hard, and I really just poured myself into it and just went all out. And then it kind of started to align with, okay, Carlie, like, wow, you've always loved public speaking, and you've always been incredible at writing. You love writing. In elementary school, I started getting pulled. We would do creative writing prompts. And in second grade, I started getting pulled out of class. I always would think I was in trouble. And they're like, no, you're not in trouble, baby. Like, we just want you to come. They want to read your story to the 4th and 5th graders. And I'm like, oh my God. And writing started young, creative writing started young for me. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I would go home, and it was just like all of the signs were there. And my mom, after my dad passed, we would sleep together in the same bed more often than not. And she's like, let's listen to Michael Seeley. Have you ever heard of him? He does guided meditations on YouTube. And it's for people, they induce lucid dreams. Okay. And my mom was very into this at the time, because she's like, all of us wanted to connect with my father in our dreams. So she got me into those meditations. And so just from my, spiritual advisor, Erica, the one that DM'd me on Instagram, which was so weird. She was in New York City. I was in Vegas at the time. How she even found my Instagram, who knows? But, and then, her telling me I needed to meditate, my mom starting to get into these meditations, it was all there. And I was like, I'm going to start writing my own, and I'm going to make them just like my motivational speaking, except if I do them for people, they get to close their eyes and zen out. It's not, I'm not like, oh, I'm this, woo-woo spiritual guru, blah, blah, blah. I can be if you want me to be, but it's more so, it's just motivational public speaking to me when I do it for others, but in a Zen manner. And I on my own practice transcendental meditation, as we talked about before. You were the one that told me about that, and then I started honing in on that.
Really?
Mm-hmm, yeah, looking into it more and practicing more and having very incredible experiences. Different chakra meditations to make sure that the 7 energy centers are balanced. I'm really into that because I'm in remission, healing from an autoimmune disease that they told me I would have for the rest of my life. And then I looked at, okay, that's interesting. They're telling it's a thyroid disease. It's called Hashimoto's, and
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's where your body creates antibodies, and it will attack your body and attack your thyroid. A couple of years ago, I just felt that I needed to go on an all natural path. And I had been feeling that for a very long time. This journey of mine has been like 7 years with Hashimoto's, but it wasn't until like 4 years ago that I started to become more versed about different eating habits and everything. And about 2 years ago that just something was telling me, seek out like holistic medicine and holistic healing. And into that journey, into, the meditation and the self-development and personal and career development and growth, I started to, and just aging. I do think that this comes naturally with everybody getting older. I'm 25 now. And it wasn't until I was around 23, so 2 years ago, that I finally started to learn how to say no. And, not in like I just say yes to everybody, but being in the service industry, doing hair for people. I mean, that is a very people-pleasing job. I mean, you're literally trying to please your client. So you do get and grow so accustomed to just wanting everything to be good, wanting everyone to be happy, wanting there to be no drama, no conflict, nothing, and just in life in general. But that's so surface, because in life we should feel all of the emotions, and we should feel how we're supposed to feel at that appropriate time. And I wish that someone had told me when I was younger that we are not thinking humans who feel. We are feeling humans who think. So if your body feels it, that is your body's truth. And I was listening to a podcast, so fast forward, and about how to heal Hashimoto's naturally, just because I just think that studies are ever changing, and there's constantly new and improved studies and lists of foods and herbs and supplements. And one of the last questions, I'm so happy I listened until the end of the podcast. But one of the last questions was, do you think that sickness is spiritual? She asked the girl that, and she said, I absolutely think that sickness is spiritual. Look at where my thyroid is. My thyroid is in my throat. That is the throat chakra. Mm-hmm. If you are people pleasing and not speaking up for how you feel, speaking your truth, telling people how you really feel, there are blockages, there are, imbalances. And I was like, oh my God, that's insane to me. Yeah. Like, that's exactly what I've been doing. Just keeping the peace. Because I don't want people to feel the wrath of true raw emotions, but maybe sometimes people need to feel that. So all of that being said, I'm very into different chakra meditations and kind of incorporating that a little bit with other meditations as well. And